Welcome to Members Only, a show centered around CMAC members and the projects they produce. My name is Johnny Pacina, and I'll be your host for today. In this edition of Members Only, we'll be talking to Doug Bloomer, the producer of Figures in Action, and Alvin Areizaga and Anita Fernandez, the producers of Vato Yoga. First up is Doug Bloomer, the producer of Figures in Action.
Join Director Doug as he spans the globe by sea, by land, and air to bring you the best of Figures in Action!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and Mr. Doug Bloomer has arrived. Thank you, Doug, for being here today and taking the time out of your day to join us here on the show.
Boy, I'm excited to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
And hey, I must say thank you for being in your character. Director Doug is your character,
well,
right?
Well, actually, yes, I am Director Doug.
Okay.
Make no mistake.
Okay. I'll be sure to refer you as such for the remainder of this interview. Okay. I don't want to make that mistake. But wow, that was a great, as we call it, your roll-on video, your introductory video to your show, Figures in Action. And I'm sure now that the audience has seen that video, and they'd be really interested to know what your show is about and what it all entails. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the concept of your show and what you do?
Well, I realized that just being aware of different things happening in the valley, the Central Valley, one of the things that's taking place is this cosplay and the anime and the comic conventions. We've got a number of them here, and they're just beginning to catch on. And I thought, well, you know, you always want to be ahead of the tide. And like a California surfer, you don't want the waves to pass you by, you want to ride them. So I thought, well, here's an opportunity, and CMAC gave me that opportunity to make it happen.
Well, I'm so glad that CMAC is here for you, because you've really opened my eyes to what's going on around here in terms of the cosplay culture, people getting together and going to these conventions. For me, growing up as a teenager, I've loved a lot of the geek culture kind of related stuff, if you will. So to actually know that that stuff is really going strong here locally in Fresno, Clovis, sometimes, gosh, what are some of the other cities you've been to?
Well, we've been to Tulare, we've been to, of course, Fresno, the Convention Center, Fresno City College, State College, CSUF. We've been all the way up to Turlock, and it's just growing. You know, we don't just grow, nothing wrong with that. We just don't just grow, let's say, grapes in the Central Valley. We're now growing a phenomenon of cosplay that I think is influencing, and is with technology, is influencing the world and giving Fresno a whole new look.
Right, most definitely. And those of you who are watching, and if you're not familiar with cosplay, it's basically short for costume play, if I'm correct?
Right, that's if you have a superhero and you want to look like them, you make a costume, and then you can actually compete like they do nationally and internationally.
Well, and even in your case, you've made up a character, so you could even do that too. I mean, the sky's the limit with your imagination, right?
Oh, absolutely, like CMAC. It's not what you can't do, it's what you can do, and what you want to do can be available. It depends on how much time and effort you want to put into your positive self.
Definitely, and I think that's a great message that you're promoting, just really getting everyone together and interested in this phenomenon, like you're saying it is. So now that the audience knows a little bit more about your show and what we're doing and what you're doing with your show, tell us a little bit about Doug the Man. Who is Doug the Man, and how did he get started doing this?
Well, again, CMAC gave me the opportunity to continue what I had done in Southern California. As a semi-professional actor, I came home for family situations back to the Valley. I had done commercials in San Diego. I worked with Richard Gere, did a hand double in Red Corner. I worked with Holly Berry on the Dorothy Dandridge story. I was able to work with Eric Clapton on a music video. And met a lot of wonderful people. You know, when you start getting into the industry, you realize that it's not all about the celebrity. There's people working tirelessly, and experts from all over the world, and geniuses come to Los Angeles to ply their craft, and they work long and hard. So it gave me a respect for the industry that sometimes we don't have as just a movie goer.
Right.
So I came back to Fresno and found that there was an opportunity here to basically be in front of the camera.
Right.
And because of CMAC, I've been able to work behind the camera as well, and that's a whole different ball of wax.
As you've discovered down the line here.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And I will say that was your experience that you just talked about right now, where you came from and how you were in the industry and involved. That really, I will say, shines through your program. I notice, especially when you're interviewing people. Sure, you know some anecdotes about who they are and who you're interviewing, which is really good practice just before you interview someone. But when you really get down to it, though, I would say your interview style is really great, because you get people to talk about more of the reasons why they did their cosplay, why they're there at the convention, and then you also tie in the community aspect to it, which a lot of the time it's just something I feel like we take for granted. This is a great thing. It's something that brings together families. People together that share a common interest. Anytime you can do something like that, I think it's a positive thing. And I'm so glad that you're promoting that. And I'd like to mention too, we worked together, and I got some a taste of working with Doug. So talk about the experience we just had on Sunday with AnimeCon, was it right?
Right, it was AnimeCon 5.0,
okay.
And it was held at the fairgrounds, one of the largest events in the Central Valley. When you look at 5,000 to 7,000 people coming to that event,
Wow.
that's substantial.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do what we try to do in Figures in Action, and that is promote everyone and make them look. My job is to make them look good. It's not about Doug, but it's about Doug trying to promote people who are giving their time and effort and their talents and their genius. We have people coming from other parts of the state to participate as vendors. We have talked to major celebrities, Gigi Edgley from Farscape. We interviewed in Tulare you remember Jaws?
Yeah.
It's their 40th year anniversary. We talked to and interviewed the man who made the shark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so you never know. It's really growing.
It's interesting too. Yeah, exactly. You meet these interesting people that have worked in the industry or been involved. I mean, even this past weekend, I met the guy who played, I think it was Michelangelo, the turtle from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right, the second movie.
The second one, yeah.
Yes, and so we had a lot of people. Some of people came from the Bay Area, and so we interviewed them, and you helped me out doing that. It's a team effort in CMAC, and so we got to basically rub shoulders with the people who are really pushing and promoting anime, for instance. Rick Fong is doing a magnificent job. He has, we're looking at Fresno City College involved. California State University now has a whole cosplay. They go out to San Diego International Comic Convention.
Wow.
As a panel.
Which is the king or the big one, right?
The largest in the United States. It's tremendous.
Wow. And you've been there too, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah, my hometown, San Diego.
Oh, hey, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, it's astounding.
That's amazing, everything that's going on. Well, let's start to talk about too the element of CMAC and how it's served you and how you've been serving CMAC, because you've been providing us content. That's why I put it that way. And you've been making some great stuff. What are some of the types of things you learned that you feel that actually, were you surprised when you were starting to do your production at anything like, wow, I actually did this? Did you have that sense? Because I feel like a few times you were really, you're on the ball with a lot of it. So really proud of where you've come.
Yeah, in other words, I'm more surprised now than I was then, because I've had some great help. I mean, like Ed Goto, he's helped me do.
Oh, we got to give a shout out to Ed. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm telling you something. Making a movie is a team effort, and if you're going to be a one-man team, the linebacker and the ball and the ball carrier or whatever, and the custodian that's sweeping up after, it can't be done. So I learned that how to take advantage of being able to take advantage of something, because it's all here. So it gave me a chance again to be in front of the camera, which I missed, and you have to like what you do. and sometimes you think too much and you just don't go for it.
It's just about going for it. And you were even talking about the other day, you know, sometimes you'll encounter people that say, oh gosh, I wish when I was younger I did this, but you know, it's never too late, right? It's never too late to get started if you want to get in production, or even if you want to attend these conventions. You know, I mean, I'm even inspired myself after going to these. Like, as a teenager, I wanted to dress up and be these characters, and I always feel like, oh, you know, I never had the resources. My parents won't drive me out to San Diego, you know, and that sort of thing. But again, it's here locally now, and it's just really exploding.
And CMAC offers somebody that doesn't want to be in the front of the camera, they're shy, or that's not their thing. I mean, you've got a world of opportunity from the highest technical aspects that's moving forward in the film industry.
Right.
You can get a great basic foundation of being a telecaster, a newscaster, an editor, or you can spend thousands of dollars to go to school to see if you really like it.
You know, it's true. We take we have a sense of pride here because, you know, a lot of the people that come through these doors, whether it's staff or people who are just coming in and interested in making videos and making their ideas come to life, they have varied experience. Sometimes they come in and they're like, you know, I've done local video, or I've worked, you know, maybe in another state with a news network, and now, you know, I'm getting that itch again. I kind of put it behind me, and now I'm back at it, similar to your situation.
Right. We don't want people to live in the shoulda, coulda, woulda world.
Exactly, and you are not doing that, so you're an inspiration for a lot of people, including staff and myself, because to be completely honest, yeah, I want to get more involved with this whole explosion of this culture that's happening now.
Well, consider it done.
Yes, and hey, perfect time for it, right? Well, Doug, we are just about out of time, so thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from you. And I'm sure those in the audience that have just been introduced to you are going to be really in store for some good quality productions from you. So thank you for being here.
Oh, my honor, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Alvin Areizaga and Anita Fernandez, the producers of Vato Yoga. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Members Only. Joining me now is Alvin Areizaga and Anita Fernandez, the producers of Vato Yoga. Let's take a look.
Hello, everybody. Hola, esas y esas. Hey. I'd like to welcome all of you to Vato Yoga. We created this show to bring you inner peace to your inner Vato. I'm Yogi Chico, your friendly Yogi homeboy.
Órale.
Hey, haha, Yee. Now, what we wanted to do is get our minds, bodies, and souls centered, homie. And we'll do this going some nice, relaxing yoga for vatos like you. We understand, and we know you're out there hustling on the streets.
That's right.
Taking lit from your ruka.
Right.
When you ain't trying to do nothing but chill with your homies.
That's real, homie. That's real. Big that real shit.
Yeah, I can't control who calls me, right? Right.
All right, see, we already have the giggles over here. That's fantastic. I gotta say, welcome you two again for your second appearance on Members Only, right?
Yeah.
And this time, I was just mentioning this earlier to you, Alvin. This is great that we can bring you back on the show. That just speaks volumes for you guys as being volunteers and making productions, which is valuable not only for CMAC but for you guys too, because you're getting some great experience, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And you've come a long way. So thank you for being here again.
You're welcome.
Tell us about Vato Yoga, because I'm sure some of the people that were watching were like, what is that? That looks awesome. And it reminds me, personally, when I was watching it, I was like, this kind of reminds me like a lost skit from Cheech and Chong or something. Like, this is awesome. So yeah, tell us about the show a little bit.
I kind of had that feel to it, but you know, like me myself, I do yoga, and just from being here and just learning a lot from you guys and everybody that's helped us out. Anita, it was a big. She wrote the first skit that we ever did.
Oh, nice.
And so just from being what is that word? You know, like inspired.
Inspired, yeah.
Just being inspired from that, I just took something of mine and just kind of came to me while I was just sitting there, and
oh, that's great.
It just felt good in my head, so I just had to write it down.
And it's amazing too, because speaking of how it started, you helped Anita first, right? And you helped her on her Mystery Date show.
Yeah.
And then she in turn helped you, and that just sparked this creative thing, right? And it's just so cool to see that, and I'm glad that's happening at CMAC. And Anita, how did you feel about the production?
Well, in a way, it's kind of a natural outcome of being thrown together for so many productions. We just formed this kind of, I don't know, kind of mental intuition as far as what was gonna, what would look right, what would sound right, and then we started writing and included each other. So
that's great. And I mean, the concept too. I mean, you guys like to have a good time. You guys like to laugh. So like you said, you combine some of your personal interest with your show. You're like, how did that creation process happen with either one of you?
I just sat home and kind of got a spark of something. Maybe I was like listening to something or talking. Just that's kind of how most of this like my ideas come. Oh, nice. To see something, hear something, or we're just talking, and then it's like, oh, you could probably do this.
Write it down, hurry.
Yeah, and it's like write it down. And so that's mainly how a lot of the ideas come from. It's nothing like set, like we have to come up with something funny right now.
Yeah,
it's just like. No, I got it.
It just flowed, right? It just came from your creative mind, and it's great too. And that video in length too is only what, like 5-6 minutes or something?
Almost 7 minutes.
So you didn't have to go out and make this huge show, right? I mean, I remember that night. You guys came in, you're all dressed up, and I was somewhat familiar with the concept, and I was like, oh, this is, I don't know what this is, but it's going to be good. Everyone's dressed up. Marlene in there too, man. Was she wearing like a bra outside of her shirt? Okay.
Yeah, there are a bunch of hams, let me tell you. They're crazy.
That's hilarious.
And we just work together so well. That's the fun thing.
That whole group was great to work with. And sometimes people would come up with a better line, or let's do it this way, and we used it. Alvin is so flexible as far as that.
Just spitball some ideas, and everyone. Isn't that great when you can have a crew and people you work with, and everyone just kind of free flowing. It's like the producer says, "Hey, I'm gonna let me know your ideas as we're doing this thing." It's almost like improv, Yeah, and it turns out, as long as you have a direction, though, you guys had a direction, right? Yeah. You knew what you want to do. What kind of things did you do when it came to the directing portion of it?
Oh, this is what I'm figuring out is like one of the most important parts of all of this is the pre-production. So there was the skit wrote. Then we did the storyboard, even though it was like stick figures.
Hey, it works, right?
It works, right? Stick figures, and then a few times, just like once a week, leading up to the shooting date, we just got together and read over and did all that pre-production
table
stuff.
readings and that's
Yeah.
great. And did you guys do it here at CMAC? Did you guys come to the
Yeah.
meeting room
We
to
did.
utilize the?
We did. We
Okay,
did it here
great.
at CMAC, and then we did a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
And then we.
Oh, perfect.
We
Yeah.
did the shoot.
I mean, we try to do it as professional as possible. Coming beforehand with the dress rehearsal, even before the dress rehearsal, we came, set up all the cameras, lights, had people standing.
Perfect.
So that way we could have it all set up for the day and not trying to do everything that day.
Yeah,
we just did so much and there could even be more. That's like the thing that I'm wanting to get better at is the pre-production.
And like you're saying, it made it so much more easier, right?
Oh,
in
yeah,
terms of just coming in, setting up the cameras, you know your shots, what you want,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Even though we were still in here for the full 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
then
For a
what-
10-minute skit, but
Hey, that's all right.
the tricky technical things, you know, like lights, you know, lighting and the audio, that was all worked out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this probably in previous episodes, and you guys probably heard it from me too, but that's why I personally love studio productions, because usually it's like you make your cuts in the studio, it's in the can when you're done. Usually you're doing your cuts as you go, live to tape, as we're doing with this show. Where you know, so I like just being like, okay, that was a great studio production. We're done.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we don't have to, maybe you
Yeah.
might have to tweak a
you
little
know,
bit.
like
in
here,
editing.
editor guy.
Yeah. But speaking of editing, who did your editing for you?
Well, actually, that was another member here because I'm not an editor. I've tried it. It's just
Not
not
your
my thing.
yeah.
So I just find editors. Been asking people, members, you know, when we're talking, if I hear them say that magic word, oh, I like to edit.
You're
you know?
like, yeah.
It's
Your
like,
spidey
you're my
senses,
friend now.
right?
You're my best friend. Come here, come here. And
Nice.
the great thing is, though, that a lot of the editors here, they're open for that. Because since they're editors, a lot of the time they're not big on the filming side.
Right.
So they don't have much to film unless they're out doing it themselves.
Right.
But that's a lot of work, going out filming, doing everything, and then you got to sit and edit
Yeah.
it. Like,
And that's
that
why
takes a lot of
typically
time.
you'll see teams of people,
Yeah.
you know, depending on how you want to set up your crew and who you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, you have your editing person dedicated. They're just waiting for you to bring in the footage,
Yeah.
and they're going to do their thing while you're out getting the footage too.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it gives a little bit of the stress off of, you know,
Yeah.
as a producer or director, you know.
And that's where all that pre-planning and that pre-setup comes in, because you're going to give that to somebody if you're not editing. You know, I
Yeah.
have to give that to the editor, and if none of that stuff is done, like shot lists or
Yes, yeah.
the storyboard, which kind of gives a visual of how you want it to look. If
Right.
that's not done, and you're just like, here, edit this. For
Yeah,
me,"
exactly,
like,
yeah.
what are they supposed to do then?
Yeah,
So
well, the way I look at
all
it,
of that just
it's all
is so
there.
smooth. It
Yeah,
helps it- it's a
exactly.
smooth process.
And the way I look at it is, it's like putting a puzzle together, but the pieces are already outlined and stenciled on the table.
Yeah.
And if you get
Yes.
great footage and you have the script with you, you're just dropping the puzzle pieces where they're supposed to
Exactly.
go. That's what
That's
you're
exactly
doing
it.
when you're
Yeah.
editing. You're just saying, oh, this is the storyboard. The first scene is a close-up, and that's the clip marked the close-up.
Yes.
Just dropping where they're supposed to go.
And the editors love that too.
And of course, there's more to it because the editor has to make sure it's kind of finely tuned, you know?
Yeah.
But that's great that you utilize that. And I'm glad you guys saw that because, if anything, I imagine you'd want to pass that along to other members,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Potential
Yeah.
members. Those of you who are on crew who are thinking about doing a show would want to explore that too.
Yeah,
too.
remember
So
the pre-production.
anything in the works coming up? Maybe a sequel or?
Possibly, we're going to be. Well, we've talked many times about collaborating on many different things, but there's probably going to be an episode 2 of
Awesome.
Vato Yoga.
I'm
so.
looking forward to it. Yeah, and will there be a return of our staff member Caesar maybe in this? Some
He may
flashback.
be more of a feature,
A feature, because
a
he's sort
featured
of
character rather than.
right. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it or
Yeah,
anything.
they
Those who
didn't
haven't
even get to
seen
see
it,
the clip
but
of Caesar,
there's a special guest appearance from one of our staff members, and
Yes.
it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
scenes of it. I
He
think.
likes to have his own stylist, so
Oh, okay.
we're working
All right.
on that.
He's
too.
hard to get to, right?
He
He's a
is.
busy person.
He's
You got to
very
get a hold of
busy.
his
Yeah,
agent,
he's
right?
Yeah.
talent.
Got
Yeah.
to call Brian upstairs. Where's Caesar?
Yeah.
No. Well, that's great.
Tell them about your show, though, Fresno Eats.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, gosh, you're doing this, but there's so much else going on with your guys'
Yeah.
productions too. So how's that going?
Well, on March 1st, hopefully, will be our first episode of, or the pilot actually, of Fresno Eats, and that's produced by Des, Callie, and myself. And
And she was on a guest on this show too as
That's-
well. We'll have to get
yes.
her back in here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And what is, I guess, just a little hint of it, because we may get her on the show, and you and Des, what is that show, kind of its main theme? What is it about?
The main thing that we want with this show is to promote the little small cozy restaurants that everyone loves. I mean, it's like a mom and pop place usually. Perfect. And we talk to the owners, we talk about their history, how long have they been there, what's the favorite dish here, you know, what's most popular, that sort of thing. And then we taste everything and do a sort of a critique.
A little bonus there after you finish production.
And nobody's shy about it. It's like, oh, can I have some more?
All right, we're done. We're filming. All right, where's the food?
And I'm on that crew too, so I'm right there tasting the food with
him. He's the director and he's camera one.
Yeah, and you've been doing some great work too. I saw some of the raw footage, and it's in production now. So yeah, I'm really excited looking at it. And you're doing Vato yoga, perhaps a sequel. Anything else in the works for you too?
Well, I think that's what I'm gonna work on.
That's your
do
focus.
A few more skits, and like we've kind of been talking. Like I'm really trying to like, hey, let's get together and let's just have, you know, some like brainstorms and just spitball ideas off each other, so we can just kind of make like a little troupe here or something like that.
Oh, that's
kind of what I'm going to be doing for a little bit, because I want to get better at that pre-production.
Good.
And I mean, I actually learned that because when I first started as a member, I did try to like do like a big old giant project.
Right.
And then that's where I learned.
You want to go start big, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to start huge, and that's where I learned like, oh wait, hold on, you got to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so now
baby
I'm like
steps,
working
but
on
you'll
the
get
skits.
there.
Yeah, and just
and
from
there
after
again,
a few skits, you know.
The team, like what we've always talked about, is that you have to have a team, and everyone has to have a clear-cut idea of what they are to do on that team.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. Like I like to say real quick, I'm like Adam Sandler isn't out there editing his movies. You know,
that's true. He's come with the concepts, and then it happens, right?
They have a team.
Well, guys, we are quickly running out of time, but thank you again for joining us. And heck, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are back for a third time with some new stuff. So
I love it.
We'll keep everyone updated. So that wraps it up for today's Members Only. If you'd like to see more about any of the shows we've talked about today, you can find them on our channels on Comcast 93 as well as AT&T Uverse Channel 99. If you don't have either one of those services, you can watch on our website at cmac.tv under the Watch tab. Thanks again to all our guests, Doug, Alvin, Anita, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.